monogamy. Admittedly, not a natural state of affairs for the human species. In fact, here too we see how men intervene upon nature in order to take advantage of certain energies and to direct human fate. Although monogamy is not natural to man, nevertheless the establishment of monogamy as an institution enabled the creation of civilizations. How did it do that? Well, by ensuring that a man had a sexual partner and an avenue towards passing on his genes, it released him from this constant obsession over pussy, over females, this constant talk, this constant conflict with other males concerning what females want, what females need, what females are thinking, what females are about, how to get females, how to avoid being taken by females, and so on. So monogamy pretty much establishes a rule, a cap, using morals and law and peer pressure and tradition. It puts a cap on human behavior, not allowing it to dissipate and to dissolve into constant conflict and bickering. If we see in nature where there is no such institution amongst the animals, the males are in constant conflict over who controls the females and who copulates with the females. By establishing monogamy, not only are men integrated within the system, as I said in another video, but the males are released from this constant talk and thinking about sex. They already have a sexual partner at home, and they all already have a way to pass on their genes at home, so they need not occupy their time with this. This releases their mental energies to be focused upon more creative directions: art, politics, philosophy, innovation. And we can see the results of the standard of monogamy being eradicated and the family being eliminated as a foundation for civilization all around us. If we look around us, what do we see? Constant talk about women, about pussy, about sex, constant obsession with sex, because sex, though it's everywhere, it's still not fulfilling and not accessible to all outside of artificial means, or such as pornography or prostitution and such. And this unfulfilling nature of sex, the way it has been reduced in modern systems, is due to the fact that it no longer has any meaning, any purpose. It's no longer about creating new life or passing on a bloodline or an idea. In the past, a man used a woman. A woman was the means for him to pass on his genes, for him to pay homage to his ancestors, to worship his ancestors, to thank his ancestors. In other words, to thank his past for creating him. And this is no longer the case. Now sex is a game, a pastime, a hedonistic escape, a release, nothing else. So everything dissipates, is reduced to a cabal, an orgy, full of sexual imagery, full of obscene images, and yet no substance. Everywhere we see sex in our system, and yet all of it is unfulfilling, unsatisfying, lacking in content. So we might say that feminism was the first step towards the eradication of the family unit, and the eradication of the elimination of the biological male as a viable entity within the system. Because without the family unit, not all men could be integrated within the system. So most of them are now pushed to the periphery, are made irrelevant. They are made non-participatory. They have no investment in the system, since they have no access to procreation. They have no access to females to pass on their genes. So this makes them indifferent to the system and destructive. In order to deal with this, like I said in another video, all kinds of modern methods are used, more sophisticated methods. Outside of brainwashing and the training you get from education, you have the venting mechanisms of sports, or living vicariously through movies, particularly pornography. To use an analogy, the emancipation of females would be the same as the de-domestication of animals. For instance, if a farmer releases all his domesticated herd from his barns, then he has nothing to eat. This forces upon him the necessity to go hunting. Now his time is occupied with going out every day to hunt for his food, whereas before it was there, ready for him, easily accessible to him, so he could feed himself and then he could focus on other matters. There is, of course, a naturally occurring form of monogamy, even within a species, such as a human being, a more promiscuous species. And this form of monogamy is one based on the female's intellectual level. I will explain. Since the female is always seeking for superior to her genes, whether she perceives it as being physical or mental symmetry, she's always looking for what is above her. She finds power or what is superior attractive. This becomes a more difficult affair for a woman that's of a certain intellectual level, because in relation to her, most men are inferior. This forces upon her a dilemma or a compromise. Or, if she's lucky enough to find a man, one of those rare men that are superior to her, she will be reluctant to abandon him, because she would not have many other options. For her, having sex or copulating with an inferior man would be like having sex with an animal, with a beast. And this is the only instance I can think of where monogamy within the human species occurs naturally and normally. Outside of this, all other monogamy has to be enforced. Has to be enforced upon a species that is not monogamous. And of course, monogamy can take many forms, such as polygamy, but still the root, the purpose is the same. That is to limit a man's promiscuity, but more so a female's promiscuity, since it's the female who can get pregnant. And with this, to integrate as many males as possible within the system, make them investors within it, but more so to free them from sexual competitions and sexual obsession and this constant talk about sex and sexuality in females, so that they can dedicate more time towards other more interesting and more creative avenues.